Full stack marketer, so I've handled everything. I've done on the strategy side, the sales side, so a wide range of gamut in the industry. Spoken at Inman Connect. I can really talk about anything, whether it's mortgage or real estate related. What I do want to do is emphasize one thing that I'm glad that Stephen brought up, which was the cost of waiting. Purchasing a home is an emotional one, right? So your marketing should be emotional and kind, not robotic or transactional, right? One thing that everyone needs to understand that in the next decade, disruption's already been happening. The narrative to consumers, and you can check this with Google by searching certain key phrases, is that agents are not important. Loan officers are not important. You get paid too much. You're not valuable. You're a door opener. You're a paper pusher, an order taker, right? Being born into this industry and deciding that I love it so much that this is where I'm going to be long term, is that you need to be more than that. You need to be an advisor. You need to do that with your marketing and your messaging, because it's a noisy world. Over 45% of the world's population is on social media, actively. There's actually more accounts. Over 50% of the world's population is on social media, but as far as being active on social media, you're looking at about 45% of the world's population. So it is an important channel to have a presence on, right? Stephen mentioned the cost of waiting. The best you can do with your marketing is to actually focus on what people are actually thinking about, right? Are we in a bubble, right? Am I overpaying for a house? Very solid questions. Your marketing, your messaging should diffuse those before you get into it, because what happens is if we try to deflect away from the realities of our market, which is crazy appraisals for being one, the more that we're trying to diffuse a bomb after it's already gone off, right? Hit these challenges head on. Talk about that in your marketing and your messaging. Tell stories about the people you help. The reason why I love the cost of waiting is because it's not just about what rates are going to do. Rates will probably go up into 4% and everyone's losing their mind because it's 4%. Guess what? We did loans when it was 12%, 16%, 10%, 8%. As long as people need houses, it really does not matter what the rates are going to be as long as they can afford the payment, right? Not a lot of people know this, but during the meltdown, when Chase actually went back and looked at it, most of the people that didn't pay could actually still afford the payment. They just chose not to, right? And that's kind of what we're going with COVID. The world and the way it looks like, especially for housing, we don't know what that's going to look like, right? We all know that COVID is going to change the way we do a lot of different things. It actually opens up a lot of opportunities. No one could see what was going to happen with COVID. Everyone thought, at least that I knew of, that I talked to, was that no one was going to move, no one was going to buy or sell because of COVID, but what did we have? We had the unicorn event, the best market ever in the history, right? Rates were low. It was just a perfect storm of a lot of different things that really helped do what we did last year. And this year is more of the same. So even if rates go up to 4%, guess what? Who cares? People are still going to do their houses. It's still going to be a $1.3, $1.4 trillion market, right? Yeah, refis drive up. Who cares, right? As long as you're a professional, as long as you're an advisor, you will have plenty of customers. You will have plenty of business out there, right? Because your competition isn't going to do a lot of things that need to be doing. That's what I want to talk about. And like I said, if you have questions, happy to answer those as well. One thing that is an important message when it comes to cost of waiting is it's not just about the rates, but it's about the house that you can afford, right? That couple that was like, okay, great, like I'm gonna wait, and I'm waiting for. I hear that rates are gonna be 1%. The Fed lowered the rate to 0%, so that means things are free and all that other stuff and all the other misinformation that happens on social media, which is why you need to have a presence on there to combat the bad narratives that are out there. Is the fact that now that house that they were happy with and the payment with at $380, now they could really only afford $340, and then $320, and then $300, right? So that's the biggest thing, right? And then talk about what bubbles could possibly be. And I don't think we'll have bubbles. I think certain markets will have bubbles, little micro bubbles, so to speak, based off that. But even then, like Stephen mentioned, is what was it? Usually within a given decade, it's something like 8 or 9 million housing units that are done. In the last decade, we had, I think, 3.2, somewhere around there, housing. So we are already at a negative of about 7 million housing units in the last decade. That's going to take a while to come up with demand, especially as people are deciding, do I go back to work, not go back to work, or as into an office, am I remote, where can I live? All of these are things that people are actually thinking about and talking about as it relates to buying or selling a house. These are the messages, the stories, and the content that you should be putting out there to be that advisor, to be that expert. Because right now, most of the people are just putting out like, hey, rates are low, historic lows, that now's a great time to buy a house. Talk about why right now is a great time to buy a house. Talk about the reasons why. Understand why people actually buy and sell their houses. I talk about this with loan officers all the time when it comes to like refis. Sometimes it's not about the money, right? It is, but there's a specific reason it's about the money. Is it about the money saved because they're trying to put their kids through college, right? Upsize, downsize. Why? You know, you really want to speak to the reasons why people are doing what they're doing when it relates to housing, and the reason why is because when it comes to social media marketing, especially, but all marketing that we generally do in our business, which honestly as a whole is pretty bad, is we are interrupting patterns. Right? Nobody goes on Facebook to find an agent. Nobody goes on Facebook to find a loan officer or mortgage company or anything. They're usually just, they're in line, they're in the bathroom, right? They're just doing something else. They're on their phone and they're just scrolling the feed, right? So that's why your content, your visual, your messaging has to be thumb-stopping content. It has to stop the scroll, right? You're only going to do that by grabbing their attention somehow. And the only way to do that is to speak to something that actually matters to them, because you are interrupting a pattern. Most of what our industry does is called interruption marketing, meaning they're doing something completely different, but we're interrupting them with an ad or a post or a story or some other thing that they're seeing in their feed, right? If you're going to do that, do something that could speak to them, knowing your borrowers and your clientele the way that you do. This is how you have a little bit more of a customized and personalized marketing approach, but it's something you could do at scale, right? Appraisal issues is something that a lot of people are going to have questions about because they saw something on CNBC, they saw that rates were going up to 4%, so nobody was going to buy a house again, right? That's what the media does, and that's what you have to combat, right? You also have other disruptions when it comes to, from a mortgage side, online lenders, from a real estate side, discount brokerages or iBuyers or what have you. There's just a lot of competition out there saying that you don't matter, that you're not important, right? So this is where you have to battle that with messaging, visuals, and talk about how you're going to guide them to match their goals, not what you're doing to help you, right? And that's what a lot of people do. Hey, I had another closing, I had a great year, I did all this stuff. I, right? The message has to be turned to you, right? One thing that COVID has taught us, right? One is, the stats that I mentioned about social media, that was prior to COVID. So I'm sure social media uptake went quite a bit because online is where everyone was living. But one thing that COVID has taught us is that as a people, we're not ready to be completely hands-off and a completely digital relationship with anything that you're doing, right? Sometimes it matters, like Amazon or what have you, curbside, whatnot. But when it comes to housing, it's an important decision, right? For some people, it's going to be the biggest financial decision they ever make. Speak to that, right? Speak to that. Don't just be someone that's just talking about rates are low. Understand that there's emotion involved with that, and speak to that. And that's very easy to do if you just spend some time and seeing what people are Googling. So there is a great tool that's called answerthepublic.com. And what you can do is it actually organizes Google searches into these really cool graphs, and will tell you what people are actually searching for, questions that they're asking. And honestly, and this is a paid service, it costs $100 a month, but you can also do this for free on Google by just Googling questions about housing, rates, appraisals, that type of stuff. Because the cool thing is, one, is you get to see what pops up on Google. So if it's ranked high, that's not an ad, that means it's organic, that means a lot of traffic is going there. You could create some messaging off that, right? There could be a bad article there, you're like, hey, this article is this, and this is why I think it's crap. This is what you really should be thinking about. opposite of what you can do is when you Google that, Google will tell you people are also searching for this. And then you'll have 5 questions that people are asking, right? Searching for on Google. You click down, they'll give you 5 more and 5 more. If you've been in this business for any amount of time, you should be able to answer these questions. Those are blog posts. That's a podcast episode, Facebook Live, right? It's doing a lunch and learn. You're speaking to what the 2.5 billion searches that Google gets a day. You're taking that data and using it for yourself because, why take a shot in the dark, right? Actually speak to what people are searching for. You do that, you're going to grab the attention because people are going to actually think about that. Now this goes into a wider marketing strategy with funnels and triggers and emails and everything else to make a cohesive marketing strategy. But at the end of the day, you got to have their attention. It doesn't matter if rates are in the zeros. It doesn't matter if you've sold every house over listing or you closed in 20 minutes. None of that matters if you don't have my attention as a consumer, right? Everyone would say last year was a great market, right? Yet I run into agents and loan officers that did 10 deals last year, where everyone else was doing 10 a month. Why is that? Because they don't have attention. Nobody knows about them. Nobody knows how great they are. They're not doing anything else. Oh, that's not what I do. Oh, the thing that I hear all the time, oh, my audience isn't on Facebook. Oh, my audience isn't on social media. They are, right? They are. What I will say is the biggest and greatest opportunity, and something that I'm doing as a strategy for what I coach my members about. It's what I'm doing at EPM is about hyperlocal YouTube videos, right? YouTube is a thing that I think everyone understands is important, that everyone understands has a lot of attention, yet a lot of people aren't willing to take the time to put videos out there. One thing when it comes to moving into a new place, people are always searching on YouTube, right? I know when I moved out here almost a year ago I live in Alpharetta, but when I was coming out here, the only town I knew by Atlanta was Roswell, just because I had a friend that lived here, right? Other than that, I had no idea about the suburbs or anything else, so I use YouTube. Search for parks, search for places to eat, search for museums, things to do. And what's cool is that, at least cool because I saw a ton of opportunity, is there's very little videos done in like downtown Roswell or Alpharetta or whatnot. There's a few, right? But those are just wide range opportunities, and the videos that are the top, thousands upon thousands of views. That's your opportunity to do a video there, to be that person that they see. Right? To talk about these are the 5 best places to eat in downtown Roswell or Alpharetta or Johns Creek or Milton. This is the best part about living in Milton. Right? Do it with a partner up with a lender, partner up with another agent. Talk about these walkthrough towns. Be that ambassador.
So you go to YouTube versus Google?
Yeah, because YouTube is actually, it's almost one and the same because Google results will show YouTube videos, yeah. But also YouTube is the second biggest search engine in the world.
Wow.
And the cool thing about YouTube, and the reason why I would recommend, if you're going to get into anything, is YouTube, and it's one reason and one reason only. It's intent. When someone goes on YouTube, it's intent to look for something. Right? Facebook, Instagram, look, if you're on Instagram and you might be like a mommy blogger or something, maybe you're looking for unboxings and stuff like that. Generally the public are on YouTube, how do I fix my dryer? Right? Why is my garage door making that sound? Right? Why is my refrigerator leaking? How do I fix this stuff? It's intent, they're looking for that stuff. So you can mix YouTube ads, which actually are pretty cheap. Mix YouTube ads and YouTube videos based off of what people are searching for. And all the work's already been done for you, because search for certain things, right? Ask questions, understand that people aren't just putting like house Roswell, right? They're putting like best place to live in Roswell, best street, where are Christmas lights, right? So one agent I coached a couple years ago, she was doing a Facebook Live strategy, video strategy, things like that, but she was talking mostly about the industry. What she does as an agent wasn't bad marketing, but it wasn't great marketing either, right? So I said, so I talked to her and looked at what she was doing, and I gave her this idea, and this is an idea that you guys should use for not just in example I'm going to give you, but every example, because it's important, right? Is I told her to do a video based off of best places to watch fireworks 4th of July, right? In her town, right? So she went, got stuff, got data from other blogs, all that stuff, put it all together in a video, wrote a blog post about it. And the cool thing is like normal her videos were like 11 views, 28 views. She had over 8,000 views on this video that she did about where to watch fireworks, right? And I know the inclination, we're all sales, we want instant ROI, instant gratification, right? At the end of the day, it does not matter. You want it, you gotta be known first, right? Awareness leads to conversions. Awareness leads to conversions, right? Everybody that you meet is a lead. Not everyone's a prospect, but everyone you meet is a lead, right? Awareness leads to conversions, right? 8,000 views, not only that, but there's a lot of local Facebook groups and stuff, and usually agents and loan officers they're not allowed to post in there. They can't post new listing coming up or whatever, but she was able to post this because that had nothing to do with her being a loan officer or an agent. It had everything to do about where to watch fireworks. Everyone was sharing the blog post. So she got the most traffic she's ever had on her website. Biggest, response on her video. The next strategy I had her do was to be like 10 places where kids eat free, right? So she's able to go to find basically Monday through Friday. If you wanted to go eat out every day, right? Obviously this was pre-COVID, but like go eat out every day, and your kids could eat free on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, right? Because she was noticing that the uptick of like kids meals were, they used to be like $3.99, $4.99, now they're $7.99 and $8.99. So she was able to find places where kids could eat free, right? That was another thing.
And to make life really easy for that, there's kidseatfree.com.
Yeah.
And then you plug in what your zip code is, and they'll say on Mondays this is where it's free, on Tuesdays this is where it's doing the work for you. I'm sorry.
It's great.
I'm with you.
And that's the thing is that the cool thing is the work's already been done for you, so you can just do that and make it hyper local, right? People understand. I think it was Dale Carnegie that wrote, consumers care about 3 things: themselves, morning, noon, and after supper, right? Even more true today, right? They care about the things where they like, or what they love, and where they live. If you focus your content messaging on those 3 things, which, like I said, you can use Google, use YouTube, and all that other stuff, that's how you create conversions. This is a tried and true practice. I'm a practitioner on this. I ran consumer direct for 2 years. That means going directly to the consumer, right? I moved our production, which was 0, but within 6 months we were at $35 million in production a month off of consumer direct messaging, off of the strategy that I'm talking about right now. Speak to where you live. Speak to what matters to the consumer. Do the research. The cool thing is if you have a database, focus on that database, right? What are the characteristics of the people that you're doing business with? Where do they work? What's their family life like? Right? You have kids, you mostly help families, right? Be that person. Don't niche down too much to where you're only helping a certain segment. Niches are good, don't get me wrong. But focus on, you could find a nice niche of this is who I help. I look back at my database. This is what the profile of the people that I help, this is what they look like. Focus your messaging, your marketing, and everything, and go all in on that. And that means you're going to attract the people that you do business with anyway. Then you take the reviews to enhance that for social proof. Right? It's everything I'm talking about essentially is not hard. It's not complex. It is a lot of work up front to do. But I'm telling you, if you take the time to do this, you eventually will create a machine, and hopefully you're doing enough business because of it that you could offload a lot of this work to somebody else, so that in the upfront, when you did spend a month doing that, then now maybe you're only spending 1 or 2 days a month, right? Or a day a month. These are machines that you build, and then they will go on in perpetuity as long as you are staying active and engaged with the conversations that you're creating, right? Communications and conversations are 2 totally different things. We like to communicate. We don't like to have conversations. Conversations are where it's at. That's where you can make a difference and grab attention.